BNN.
Do 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 do.
BNN.
Do 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 do.
BNN.
Do 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 do.
Hello and welcome to Big Nostalgia with me, Vicstar.
And me, haddowinc.
Today we're going to be talking about that famous N64 rare game, Perfect Dark.
It's the shooter that isn't James Bond, but is it as good as James Bond? Where does it come from at all? That's the kind of stuff we'll be discussing today.
Now, Perfect Dark was actually developed by the Rare team that developed the GoldenEye famous James Bond game, which was an epic game on the N64, if I do say so myself.
It's known as, like, the original, like, multiplayer shooter experience, which is weird because it wasn't meant to have a multiplayer mode at all. Obviously,
No.
this episode is about
Perfect Dark.
But GoldenEye, they actually developed the multiplayer mode in secret.
I think you do
and then
need to
added it
talk
in
about
later.
GoldenEye a little bit when talking about Perfect Dark.
Because it gives the context.
Yeah, and it gives you like the baseline of what Perfect Dark was being worked off of, really.
Yeah, because obviously it was Pierce Brosnan was Bond.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He's my James Bond. Anyway. But yeah, so of course GoldenEye came out and it wasn't supposed to be a full-person shooter. It was just, a developed game, but it just had such a fan base and it was a really good game for its time.
Yeah.
And with Perfect Dark, they basically wanted to do that. They got another opportunity to do a James Bond game. They just, they didn't want to go down the James Bond route again. So they actually, I didn't know this about this game, they actually created the player Joanna Dark. For this game, they created the whole universe. They created her because they wanted to do their own thing, which I think is great. And they wanted to have a female main character.
Which, given it was quite early in video games, that's quite a good achievement and thing to strive for.
Yeah, and that, of course, they had so much success with the GoldenEye, but they just took that into effect and said, right, let's do this, but let's do our own thing with it, rather than just another. I think the second one would have been just a copy, wouldn't it?
It'd been very easy for them just to create some new levels based off the next James Bond film,
and then a couple of newer skins and
characters, a few newer weapons, and call it a day.
Yeah,
like Call of Duty does, basically.
Yeah, so I think I have a lot more respect for a company who actually goes, even though it's popular, no, that's not for us. Let's try this.
Yeah, let's not just let's not just do a game on a popular IP. Let's make our own IP now that we've made a great engine that we can do lots of cool stuff with.
But the designer of GoldenEye and of Perfect Dark was a man called Martin Hollis, and he was Rare's first computer science graduate, because of course that wasn't really a big thing in those days.
It wasn't really a degree subject.
No,
much.
Because it was still quite early on with all computer sciences and computers in general, really, let alone gaming. And the whole team wanted to do the female main character, and her name is actually based from the French pronunciation of Joan of Arc, which is Jeanne d'Arc. So, of course, Joanna Dark, which I think is a pretty cool way of doing it. They were inspired quite a lot by... they were inspired for the game from Ghost in the Shell and Blade Runner, which, of course, are two... main sci-fi things that are out in those days, which weren't exactly very mainstream, especially Ghost in the Shell, which is an anime from Japan. So I think it's quite cool that it was based off of that sort of
fear.
And you can feel it in the game as well, can't you?
Yeah, back in those days, the anime options were what I guess Pokemon and the first bit of Dragon Ball Z was getting localised in America. Yu-Gi-Oh! Would have been releasing in Japan. I don't think it had reached the
Western
States,
cultures, and before anything like Studio Ghibli or anything like that. So the fact that they had used that as an inspiration is pretty cool.
They've done their research.
Yeah. But the storyline is basically Agent Joanna Dark attempts to stop extraterrestrial conspiracy by a rival corporation, Data June, which is I've never really thought of the storyline because, to be fair, when I was a kid, it was all about the 4-player.
Yeah, there's a lot about the multiplayer modes.
The multiplayer and going against my brothers and tranquilizing the F out of them, which is always a good game.
Yeah.
So I don't remember doing the main storyline a lot, So I never really thought about the storyline, to be fair. But that's pretty cool. I mean, you can totally tell from their inspiration where they got that storyline from.
Yeah. And it's good that they decided to go like completely different as well, like with extraterrestrials. It's almost proto Men in Black, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course James Bond normally focuses more on like
the spies and espionage and stuff
like that.
Whereas
this is more kind of as in Men in Black. Blade Runner was sci-fi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And like chasing down and conspiracy theories and all that kind of stuff.
Well, with the next year, they're obviously making Men in Black International.
That looks quite good.
With Tessa Thompson.
And
if that goes well, maybe she could play Joanna Dark.
Oh my god.
That'd be...
Let's make this happen, internet. Let's make this happen.
But yeah, it was different and they really took it their own way. And yeah.
Well, they got a lot of success from this game, as in 2006, it was voted by the NGI Reader's Choice top 100 games ever.
IGN.
It was IGN. It was number 15, which is pretty high. I mean, I think any top 20 in 100 games ever is pretty good. And then it won the BAFTA Interactive Entertainment Moving Image Award in 2000.
Yeah.
Which is quite cool for a game.
And to be honest, back in the 2000s, moving image probably was probably more than game as well. It probably was the category that games fell into amongst other stuff. So,
yeah.
Before games got their own awards proper.
So, of course, this game had a lot of characters in it, the main one being, obviously, Joanna Dark. But who were the other characters?
So you had the brother, Jonathan Dark.
Obviously.
Yeah, very similar.
Joanna and Jonathan. Their family didn't really think outside the box, did they?
One that I immediately remembered is you have to help him in the first episode, but it's Dr. Carroll. It was a floating laptop.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
And you had Daniel Carrington, who was on your top side, and you had an alien called Elvis as well. So it did actually have aliens in it.
Yeah, but out of all the names that you could choose for an alien, why not Elvis? I mean... It's a great name.
Well, I think it's meant to be obviously a pun.
Bit of a pun, yeah.
Based on what people think happened to Elvis.
So yeah, even like in jokes slipping in there for Rare. Good choices.
Yeah, and it expanded the world, didn't it? It was inventing a whole. Well, it was inventing a world, not just settling to invent just a character and then following a rule book.
Yeah, of what people expect. It was. Right, this is the world we want to create, how are we going to make it even better? But there was more than 30 weapons in the entire game, including AR-34s, laptop guns, which I really enjoyed, shotguns, which I really enjoyed, and of course, my favourite, tranquilizers.
See, tranquilizers, their default setting was just making your vision really blurry.
Well... Let's be honest, if you were a bit like us, you'd go on to multiplayer, you'd set tranquilizers only, and then you'd have fun shooting at each other, getting really dizzy, aka drunk for kids, and then fall down a hole.
So trippy, it's so trippy.
Or die.
Drugs, lol.
But hey, it was fun.
And it had like different types of NPC as well. Like it had like, do you remember there was the pacifist NPC? That wouldn't use weapons. All they'd do is they'd go... Because you had like a punch, but the secondary function of the punch was a disarm. All they'd do is disarm you, take your weapons and run away.
Yeah, which was very, very annoying.
And you had like ones that I think went for explosive weapons, more ones that went like... You had the standard difficulty levels of NPC and like the versus mode.
But it was quite nice to have the specialist ones, because that made it a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
But of course, if you just had the disarm one, it'd literally be like Zoidberg turning up, taking your weapon and going woo 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 woo.
I think they had more health as well, because like they'd be running at, they just run straight at you and you'd be like shooting at them like, no, stay back.
Die, why won't you die?
And they just like slap you, take your gun and run away, and you're like, damn it.
Damn you. But yeah, I love putting the laptop guns on the wall and then just leaving them, because then they'd be kind of like quote unquote sentries and turrets.
Yeah.
And then, of course, someone would walk in the room. Because wasn't there special abilities as well? Like suitcases. No, that was a round, couldn't you? You had to collect the suitcase and bring your suitcase back to your side.
Yeah, it was like the different game modes. Like there was capture the flag and like hold on to the suitcase.
I thought that was quite a good variety for a game that, let's be honest, multiplayer is kind of like the extra. So it's quite good.
Considering the first game they had to do the multiplayer in secret, this one they kind of went nuts. We're like, what can we do?
Yeah. What couldn't we add before, because it wouldn't match the reality? Oh, they had ray guns as well, didn't they?
Yeah, because obviously the
sci-fi side.
Yeah, so they just literally could do what they wanted.
Well, there's a lot of things they wanted to do as well with the multiplayer, and there was a feature called Perfect Head, which I'm sure a lot of people have made a lot of jokes about. So let's just move past that joke. And the idea was that you could take photos and put your friends' heads and stuff on characters,
So
and then you'd be like shooting at each other.
Using the Game Boy Color camera.
Yes. But the official reason, they said it was the technology difficulties, because by doing this they created a lot of crashes. But some of the like conspiracy sort of like theories is actual about the sensitivity around a mass shooting that happened in Columbine High School High School in the US around that time, which I can completely understand. I mean, a kid killings in a school, let's shoot our friends on a place on a
be
game.
Seen as a bit tone deaf.
Yeah, a little bit unsensitive.
Yeah,
insensitive.
So apparently it was functional, but it crashed the game when you tried to actually play with it. Like the actual setting up was all fine, and there was no code left in the game from it. But if you look on the cutting room floor, apparently if you use certain Game Shark code, you can find old like text that was associated with it, like to do with creating and editing.
One of the designers, while they were doing that, he actually had his face put into the game.
Yeah. And
his face actually became one of the faces of the characters.
Yeah.
Because it was a concept that they already had, so they might as well, you know. And I think he was one of the like the odd job kind of equivalent.
Yeah, and to be honest, like they already probably had to do something similar to that to recreate the actual actors' faces in GoldenEye. So they probably had
the technology.
They probably had rough versions of turning pictures of people into character models anyway.
But yeah, why not?
Yeah. It would have been a very dark mode, but
yeah,
it's interesting to think what gets left out of games, like what gets suggested in development,
and what might be kicked out due to what's going on in the social world as we know it.
Yeah,
I mean, how that can influence. It wouldn't be the first game influenced by social media and social things that are going on, which makes sense if you want to think of your key demographic.
Yeah, if you want to. Well, it's just like a
makes
sound
sense.
Business decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
And by the sounds of it, it wasn't working anyway, so.
No. But there's actually 21 playable missions in Perfect Dark, and there's 3 difficulty levels: Agent, Secret Agent, and Perfect Agent. So, I'm not sure the difficulty level. I'm guessing it was a big step between Agent and Perfect Agent, would you say?
Probably, although the way you pronounce perfect made me think more of Cell from Dragon Ball Z
Perfect
Abridged.
Cell, Perfect Agent.
We have Agent, we have Semi-Perfect Agent,
and then we have me. And then we have me. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing the game as a kid.
Yeah.
More the multiplayer than the single player.
Well,
and it's something that I wouldn't mind going back to. I mean,
it did have the co-op campaign, and it also had counter-op campaign. So it had, basically, it was a function that was intended to be in Banjo-Tooie as well, but they scrapped it in Banjo-Tooie, which was the Bottle's Revenge.
Yeah.
Which was taking control of the enemies. But you would, like, the main person would be obviously Joanna Dark, and the other player would be one of the NPCs, and you'd have to run up and try and stop, like, the main person from getting through. But obviously you have the health bar of an NPC, but if you got killed, you just became the next NPC down the line. So
that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, so that was something you could do for the
levels. But do you think that was a bit before their time? Like, what the Nintendo 64 could actually do?
Well, to be honest, I think at most it was a bit of a gimmick, because if you stopped your friend from getting through the campaign too much,
you're just being a bit of a dick.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, if you're just cycling through the NPCs, it's like, how fun is that for you?
But apparently this game has been remastered in 2010 for the Xbox downloads.
Yeah.
I haven't actually checked out myself, but it'd be interesting to see
I'm sure it's part of the Rare Replay collection as well.
Yeah, because Rare did make, as you can tell from our podcast, they made a lot of interesting games.
A lot of good and interesting games over the years.
But it's one of those games that I'd definitely go back to as an adult, because I remember having lots of fond memories of it, and it'd be nice to have a go a bit more seriously now that I'm a better gaming player at the single player mode.
Yeah, it's interesting, and some of the nuances you miss as a kid as well.
Yeah, some of the inside jokes.
That's part of the interesting bit of revisiting these games as adults, is being able to actually see the design choices and see all of that and appreciate it all a bit more than when you're a kid. You're just like, play the game. Because,
of course, as a Nintendo fanboys, as we are, and fangirls, there is a lot of critiques out there about Nintendo as being a quote-unquote kids console. But I do think they do try to balance it out. Like a more kiddie game could actually be more adult than you suspect. It's a bit like watching, I don't know, Wreck-It Ralph and stuff like that. There's a lot more inside jokes than people realise.
Yeah, it's not writing something off because of its art style and kiddie.
And it's not as easy as you think just because it's kiddie.
Yeah.
But that's just our defence. Yeah. Anyway, Perfect Dark, personally, awesome game. So that's our viewpoints on Perfect Dark. Please comment below if you've got a different viewpoint, if you really like the first player, or you just really like tranquilising your brothers and sisters when you were a kid.
If you liked doping up your siblings.
And running around going, we're drunk. I've been Vixter.
I've been haddowinc. If you want to follow us midweek for updates, it's @abridgedbk.
And next week we'll be looking at Mario Kart 64, which is an awesome game as well. But we'll have to debate between like the older and newer versions, as well as the version that came out on the 64, if it's been done better, if it's been done worse. It's an interesting topic. There's been so many. But yeah, so looking forward to that. See you then.
It's going to be a good episode. Join us for it. Second to last one of the season.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye. Bien.
Do 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 do.
Bien.
Do 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 do.
Bien.
Do 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 do.
Big nostalgia.
Yeah.